Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson football channel for a pretty excitable video today. I've actually been feeling awful since I got back from the US. Had a big weekend out watching the Chelsea and seeing up some friends in London. And since then, I've just been feeling like trash. I'm flying today, but I've got to get this video out for you because there's a lot of things that I want to discuss in today's video. I have seen a massive media fallout about how bad Chelsea are being ran, how clueless we are, how stupid everything is. And I've got to say, as a Chelsea fan who probably does a bit more deep diving into the facts, into the truth, into the reality, as Chelsea fans, I think it's important that right now, when people are still arguing amongst themselves, arguing with one another, I think it's important after only one game of the league season that as Chelsea fans we stand together, we back the team, and especially when the global footballing media that don't do the same kind of analysis as we might do as Chelsea fans, they look at the surface layer of buying this player, buying that player, selling this player, selling that player, and they try to drag the club's name under the mud or through the mud at any given opportunity. And I want to make sure at the start of this video today that you guys can know that if you come to GBFC, I'm going to be optimistic, I'm going to try and stay positive, and if there are things that I don't like, I'll express it. I've given my thoughts on Gallagher being sold, but now that he's been sold, I'm not going to sit here in front of this camera whining about it any longer. Joao Felix is a very exciting player. We're going to get on to talk about him in a second, but before we do that, if any of you are still looking to buy the new Chelsea kit this season, I've got a 10% off discount code, GBFC10. If you use the link in the description, make sure you order your kit through that link down below. And let's start by discussing the news. We're also going to talk about how Enzo Maresca could line up this Chelsea team with the Joao Felix signing later on in this video. But yesterday, we heard the news, I'm just trying to get it up on my phone here, that Chelsea have confirmed the signing of Joao Felix. The medical is going to be happening today. Joao Felix already in London to complete medical and formal steps as new Chelsea player. So, what we now know with this is Joao Felix back to Chelsea. Here we go. Deal in place with Atletico Madrid and his agent Jorge Mendes. Contract until June 2030 plus option for Joao. So that's a 6 + 1 year deal, 7-year deal. As travel and medical tests being booked for the next 24-48 hours today. Gallagher to Atleti. Joao to Chelsea, exclusive story. This is from Fabrizio Romano. Now, Conor Gallagher has also been authorised by Chelsea Football Club to fly back to Madrid in order to get this one done. There is still a part of me here that looks at this, and I want to talk about Felix because the longer time goes on, the more I get excited about him again. The more I look back on what he actually did when he last came here on that loan. And I don't think it was a disaster. But I think the fact that Pochettino didn't want him back at Chelsea meant that we kind of looked at the loan and it didn't become a permanent one, and we're like, well, it's because he wasn't good enough or it didn't work. He certainly wasn't perfect, but I certainly think that there is still a player in there who just needs to be somewhere where he feels loved. And he's already had that statement where he came out and he said he'd been at Atletico Madrid for 3 years, and within one game of being a Chelsea player, he had a song. And I think some players... And Felix is like a luxury footballer because he can do magnificent things on the ball. Some of these players just need to feel a little bit of love. And I think when you look at the performances at the weekend, Enzo Fernandez was poor. I think Conor Gallagher does that better every day of the week right now, to be honest. So the sale of Gallagher, as I said, I don't want to be whining about it here on GBFC, but I do think here that there's such a strong element of this transfer that is, well, Atletico will only spend this amount on Gallagher so that we don't sell him to a Premier League club, and maybe Gallagher just didn't want to play for another Premier League club. So Gallagher flew back to London and now is going back to Madrid, where Chelsea needed to buy someone from Atletico Madrid so that Atletico Madrid pushed through this sale and the signing of Conor Gallagher. And I don't like the fact that this is the way that Chelsea are doing business, where we know that we want to get this pure profit onto our books by selling Gallagher. Fair enough, like if he's really not part of the manager's plans and the club don't want to see him go for free, I get that, I really do. There's a lot of people that will argue that it's ripping the heart and soul out of the club when you sell the players that play for us the most, captain us last season, came up through the academy. Trust me, I don't for 1 second agree with this whole principle of let's just buy everybody and sell all of the academy players. I don't want to see this happen. I don't think it's a sustainable way to run Chelsea Football Club, and I'm not entirely sure that the quality of players that we're bringing in from foreign countries are actually going to be good enough for us to achieve the goals that we want to achieve. But with that being said, I think Joao Felix is a player. A lot of people will think that he comes in and he has to start because he is a luxury player and he's been at Atletico Madrid, Barcelona. Like, surely he can't come in and not be a starter. But to me, Joao Felix right now comes in and I'm not sure he is a starter, you know. I think realistically, Nicholas Jackson should probably still be starting ahead of him in some cases, but you look at Jackson again at the weekend and finishing is still a problem. But it was the same for Joao Felix at Chelsea. Could have done a lot more, should have done a lot more. And as much as he's a player that will get you off your seat because there'll be a little trick, there'll be a flick, there'll be a moment of brilliance, I still think that Chelsea here, as long as we're still working on a number 9 deal in the background for this, then we've not missed the boat. We've just taken a little detour to get on the boat. And that boat right now is if we get an Osimhen, we get a number 9 in, then I think we're in for a comfortable journey this season. That's the way that I see it. And I don't think Joao Felix is coming in as the number 9 signing. He's definitely not coming in as the guy that's going to finish every chance that he gets given, score 20 goals a season, which is what I think Chelsea need right now in order to be competing for the Champions League spots. And that's what we don't have. And I think this is why rival fans look at us right now and think we're a laughingstock, think we're a joke. Because anyone in their right footballing mind can look at Chelsea and be like, bloody hell, they're signing a lot of players. We're about to sign bloody Mike Penders, that goalkeeper again, 19 million. It's absolutely bonkers. You've got some journalists, Man United ones, trying to say that we're going to sign Jadon Sancho. That's not happening, by the way, but I will talk about it briefly at the end of this video. But I think Joao Felix coming in, if he can get that confidence again to be the player that we all thought he was once going to be. Atletico Madrid spent over 100 million on this guy. That's a lot of flipping money. Chelsea are getting him for potentially a bargain. He's going to be one of the more experienced players in the Chelsea squad, which is also a mad thing to think about. But at the end of the day, there's only going to be so long where academy players at Chelsea are going to be worth the values of, say, a Conor Gallagher. I still think we've undervalued him on the sale. But this is the summer, the final transfer window of this 4-window strategy that Chelsea supposedly had when the new ownership came in. And to be quite honest, I think there's got to be a transfer ban on the way for Chelsea right now. If we're being realistic, you know, so far we've not been caught in terms of breaking any of the rules. The investigations that are underway right now about Chelsea are investigations about things that happened under Roman Abramovich. And people will tell you in the footballing media, oh, it's because they keep spending so much money. We're not breaking financial rules with the money we're spending. And that's the crazy thing that people don't understand. The investigation that the Premier League are doing right now are based on things that happened before Clearlake and Todd Boehly came in at the club. And as much as we might miss Roman Abramovich and the success that Abramovich brought with us, I think it's important that we understand the differences between these punishments that might be on the way and what they're coming for. And I think at the moment, when I look at Joao Felix coming in here at Chelsea, and I do struggle to see exactly where he fits, because when you think Esteval Williams coming next year, Kendry Paez is coming next year, you've got Nkunku, you've got Palmer, you've just brought in Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall, Caicedo, Enzo, we've got so many players here. And that is without me even reeling off the names of some of the players that I don't think are going to play for us much longer. So I want to take a little look here at some options as to what we could see with Joao Felix coming in at Chelsea. Now this, I'm going to show you the one that I think could work the best right now. And it doesn't really fit in with the Enzo Maresca 3-2-4-1 inverted fullback setup, but you could see here how players could invert. I've gone a 4-3-3. And I've got Jorgensen as my goalkeeper because, look, I said I wanted to do a clean slate for Sanchez, and then within 70 minutes of me giving him a clean slate, he punches the ball in his own net. So I'm just going to put it as it is here. I think Jorgensen should be the top keeper. Gusto, Fofana, Colwill, Cucurella. I think most people have universally agreed that until Reece James is fit and back in the side, these are probably the defenders that will play. Whether or not they're going to be good enough, we'll wait and see. Lavia, who I think's got to be in the side. Caicedo and Palmer as the 8s. No Enzo, Felix on the left, and Nkunku up front with Pedro Neto on the right. For me, this is a great side. This could be a really good team. I think I'm still unsure as to whether it's going to be Neto on the left wing, Neto on the right wing, but if Joao Felix is playing, Joao will probably play on the left wing, which then puts Pedro Neto on the right. We've also got rumours at the moment that Raheem Sterling is going to be leaving the club. Not spoken too much about this whole ordeal with the statement that came out because I think that, again, it's just been overly publicised. I think someone like Sterling, senior player, took Chelsea out of his Instagram bio, fair enough, probably expected to have some kind of part to play, not in the squad for the first game of the season, throws all of his toys out the pram. In my opinion, he's not done anything near good enough, really, in his time at Chelsea to be considered one of these undroppable, unsellable players. At the end of the day, he might want to stay at Chelsea. He might want to stay in the Premier League because he wants to get back in the England setup. But really, truly, what has Sterling done? And I think this is something brilliant that Maresca is doing so far. He's not letting the big personalities in the Chelsea squad or the big wage earners come in and be like, well, I'm the big dog around here. I'm Mr. 300 grand a week, so you've got to play me. And you've got to not necessarily disrespect that Maresca's not picked him. There's definitely a way that there's probably better communication needs to happen. But in terms of the realistic side here, where does Sterling really deserve to be playing? Probably not. And is he going to be good enough in a Maresca system? Probably not. Is Neto a better winger? Yes, he is. Is Joao Felix a better player than Raheem Sterling right now? I'd still say yes, he is. So I'm happy that Chelsea are making these investments. We move now into a 3-2-4-1. Jorgensen again. Gusto, Fofana, Colwill, Cucurella in that inverted role with Caicedo. Felix on the left, Nkunku, Palmer as the 8s, Neto on the right with Nicholas Jackson up front. The question here is there going to be enough defensive work that is done by these forward players? Nicholas Jackson loves to drop deep, get involved with the defensive actions, and Pedro Neto is a very hard worker. We've also seen Palmer develop in this too. My questions here would be Joao Felix. Is he going to put in a shift for the team when it comes to tracking back? And I think that is why when we first see Joao Felix at Chelsea, I don't think he's a starter. I think he's going to be a player that can come off the bench and have that bit of brilliance, the majestic kind of talent that he's got to come in and do something to change the game for Chelsea. When we saw Pedro Neto come on the other day, I mean, it's against Man City. They're so incredibly organised, and to be fair, he'd only been at the club for 3-4 days. So to expect him to just explode immediately would be crazy. But Joao Felix has been here before. He knows what it is to be at Chelsea. He wants to be at Chelsea, which for me is one of the important things about why we've signed him. Here, I've gone with a very similar team. Lavia and Caicedo, I think at the moment, Enzo Fernandez, as you've seen in these two lineups, I don't think Enzo gets a start for me. I think Chelsea are a better team and more balanced right now when Enzo Fernandez isn't playing. And I think so that we don't lose too many points here at the beginning of this season, I think we've got to go with the players that right now are in form, right now look the most fit. Lavia looks the most fit and in form of all of the midfielders at the club. And I think Caicedo can do a better role and do a better job, further forward than Enzo Fernandez can right now. Unless Enzo Maresca is adamant that he wants to play a 4-2-3-1 with two holding midfielders, I don't see how Enzo Fernandez stays in this team right now. And I think when you're buying players like Pedro Neto, you're buying Joao Felix, we're still rumoured to want to sign Victor Osimhen this summer. I think Chelsea, we're going to have so many attacking players that will just be wasted on the bench if we're trying to fit players that just aren't playing well enough right now, like Enzo Fernandez in the starting 11. So I've kind of got a bit of a bee in my bonnet today, guys. I've been frustrated looking at the way that the media have talked about Chelsea and frustrated with the whole atmosphere at Stamford Bridge the other day and the way that I see people just fighting amongst themselves and taking too many things as gospel truths that the media are reporting right now because Chelsea get clicks. When people talk about Chelsea right now, because we're signing everybody, it gets clicks, it gets views on the internet. That is the truth of the matter. And that is where I think people's thoughts and opinions on the club have just become quite skewed from the reality. it's perfectly normal to be upset with the fact that Conor Gallagher's been sold, but then still be happy that Joao Felix is an exciting player that could become a really great signing for us and become a bargain if he can fulfill the potential that many people in the footballing world would agree that he's always had. So Joao Felix coming to Chelsea, at the moment, yes, I'm excited about it, but my big concern is that I don't think he's the out-and-out number 9 goal scorer that we desperately needed. But at the same time, like, there's probably definitely a conversation that's happened where Chelsea needed to buy Omarodion or Felix from Atletico so that they'd buy Gallagher so that we'd have the money on... Do you know what I mean? Like, it's very confusing, but at the same time, I kind of understand it, despite not agree with it. That's where I'm at right now with Chelsea. Many decisions, I get it, but I don't agree with it. And I think it's perfectly okay for that to be the position without slating the owners at any given opportunity, without saying that the club are finished and the heart and soul has been fully ripped out. Like, I get that and I feel that too, but I don't think it is dramatic as we're finished, it's done, because we lost to Man City and everyone else in the footballing media is talking shit about us. I think we just need to breathe for a second. And I know that the club aren't doing that because they've got to get rid of like 15 more players, and we still want to sign Victor Osimhen. Maybe another player too, maybe another centre-back. Like, we're even being linked when it comes to like Man United journalists, and The Athletic are saying that Man United think Chelsea might go for Jadon Sancho, which would be lunacy. The bloke is more trouble than he's worth these days. Noni Madueke, we might sell him. Newcastle want him on loan with a 30 million obligation. You would never in your right mind right now sell Noni Madueke and buy Jadon Sancho. If that happens, I don't think it's going to happen because I think it's nonsense. And I think it's literally click farming because Chelsea are in the vogue of the talk of the town right now. So I don't think it's going to happen. Bloody hell, if it does, I wouldn't be surprised though. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. This has been the craziest transfer window, and the club does look completely different. But I think it's way too soon to say that Maresca can't do it. And that is where I'm sitting with it right now. This has been a chaotic video today. I've kind of just come on here and I have just spewed my thoughts. And it's been a little bit cloudy. So if you have followed it, please do smack a like on this video. Subscribe if you are new. And let me know your thoughts on Joao Felix in the comments down below. I'm excited. I think he could be the player that I think he always could have been. And I think Chelsea could be the place to get it out of him. How many minutes will he get at the start? I'm not sure. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I'll speak to you all guys tomorrow when I land in Thailand. Come on, you Blues.